In the last part of this What If, we covered the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament and some of the events following inside the 5-year age skip. Some notable things that happened was the forming of the Wolf School Dojo, founded by our main man Yamcha, as I find this more training-oriented version of Yamcha doing something like this for work rather than being a baseball star. This way you can train and earn money at the same time. And on the flip side of that, the opening of Yamcha's dojo had Tien revive the Crane School as they very quickly become rivals. But before I start this part, make sure to like and subscribe with notifications on to stay up to date with my what ifs. But out of the way, let's get into it. And I want to start with covering more of what everyone's up to within the 5-year age skip. After training with Kami for the events of the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, Roshi was noted to be a very good pick for the Earth Guardian in Kami's eyes, mostly for his wisdom. However, the old hermit's perverted nature does halt Kami from actually giving over the title to Roshi, since the Earth Guardian role itself needs you to be pure of heart. However, Roshi does become an apprentice Earth Guardian, Kami aiming to rid Roshi of his perverted nature through training. Krillin would stick with Roshi, but isn't interested in the Earth Guardian role, but does seek further training. Krillin seeing his chance to try and get more gains than Yamcha or Tien, who are part focusing on their own dojos. Yamcha ends up getting not only King Chopper over the 5 years as a student, but Pamput as a student. After learning this person who was superhuman compared to him in the last time they fought in the World Tournament, Pamput ends up trying to learn from him. However, not only Pamput, but Hercule ends up joining the Wolf School Dojo. Hercule is more allured by the previous world champ and current runner-up title. Though I will say that his students don't get as much gains as you'd expect, though I think these newcomers, so to speak, are impressive. This is mainly due to the fact that Yamcha has never been a teacher before, and since he opened his dojo at a pretty young age, I think Yamcha would not at first fully understand the responsibilities of running a dojo. Since this Yamcha is pretty one goal focused, which we all know the goal is to be just get stronger. But also, in this time Yamcha and Launch's child will be born. And I kinda wanted you guys to decide on their name and even gender in the comments below. So for now, I'm just gonna use the silhouette as their child. And unlike Goku, Yamcha will be able to start training the child when they come old enough. And since Hercule also has Videl in a similar time frame to when Gohan was born, I think Yamcha's kid would actually befriend Videl, since Hercule already trains under Yamcha at Yamcha's dojo. Tien also gained some extra students that he did not expect to have a pretty decent amount of potential. So his students aren't just Chiaotzu, Tao, kind of, and Nam, but there's also Yurin, of the former Crane School as we learn of in Super. So of course, whatever new Crane School formed by Tien, we'll have her approach him herself. Though this time I think her approach will be a lot nicer, considering from what I've learned through my research, she'll be born somewhere between 753 and 750, which I think it makes more sense in canon if it were 750, since that means by the time Raditz arrives, she's 11. Old enough to experience the last arc of Dragonball, being somewhere between like 5 or 6. But I will say she will end up finding Tien when she's around 8, meaning she gets his tutelage for only 3 years, less training than the other apprentices. Also, side note, I'd say she doesn't know any magic like she does in canon in Super, as I think that was an ability learnt later in life and not as a child. But regardless, she's also here, well ahead of time. Tien also has the same kind of case as Yamcha though. Tien's felt more to do with the fact that he only really knows how to train himself. Though with Chiaotzu there, who has plenty experience helping his buddy train, I think Tien's students might actually grow at a slightly faster rate than Yamcha's students. But to some extent I also do have to factor in what their canon strength would have been, so the numbers will vary kind of widely. Goku goes and starts his family like canon, though he's still training like he always does. Though he knows his best buddies Krillin and Yamcha aren't going to slack in their training, though his motivation is higher than canon. And unfortunately this what if doesn't really affect Gohan here in any way, so Chi-Chi will still forbid Goku from training him. From word of mouth over time I think Goku would find out about Yamcha's dojo, and I think he would check it out. Giving Yamcha an idea might give Goku a bit of fun, and also give his students something to strive for in terms of power. King Chopper is at first a bit scared of Goku's appearance, remembering the last time he saw this man. Well, it takes him a moment at first, since the last time King Chopper actually saw Goku, he was a child. But Yamcha calling Goku by his name would immediately trigger King Chopper's memories. Yamcha plans to pit his strongest students against Goku, telling them that this is the strongest person on the planet, and that they have to try to land just one punch, which Pamput boasted that this will be easy after Master Yamcha's training. They could beat anyone. Pamput in his arrogance takes charge of Chopper and Hercule, and rushes at Goku. Goku finds this to be a fun training exercise, and flawlessly dodges all their attacks. And once they all get exhausted, I think this will actually have Hercule in particular with more heightened motivation, since his goal is to become the world champ, and after not landing one hit on Goku, he learns that Goku is the current world champ, instilling into Hercule that if he can't become stronger than Goku, then he can kiss his world champ dream goodbye. Goku then gets to spar with Yamcha. Goku does hold back a little bit though, and Yamcha does notice that, and it bothers him that Goku is still so far ahead of him. That mostly being because of Goku's Saiyan genetics. Before Goku leaves after their sparring session, Yamcha makes sure to extend an invitation to come again anytime to train. Goku will accept this offer, and over the 5-year age gap, Yamcha is still very present in Goku's life, since they train somewhat often, since Yamcha still also has to focus on his own students. This also leads to Yamcha learning about Gohan before the reunion, though Chi-Chi asks Yamcha to keep it a secret for now, as Chi-Chi wants just a little bit of time to raise his son before bringing him into the craziness that is the Dragon Team. Yamcha laughs in agreement, knowing exactly what she means. Meanwhile, we find Piccolo by himself. He's reminiscing on his past memories, especially about the time he was totally outclassed in the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, and I think that would fuel him in his training. This version of Piccolo is fiercely training focused and very humiliated. After knowing how powerful his foes are, his dreams of taking over the earth are far behind him. He just wants to surpass them, and being able to sense, he'd know how hard he'd need to train to overcome the Z-Warriors. And in the moments where Goku and Yamcha spar, I think that would give off enough ki for Piccolo to sense and be able to kind of judge himself like a measuring stick in a way, and knowing just how far ahead they are to him, and how hard he must train to really overcome them. And I think now is a good time to do the power levels. Given that much of these characters wouldn't be invited to the reunion, I just wanted to include their growth over these years. Though I will say in the case of the stronger people, they will kind of start experiencing some diminishing gains, given that it's peacetime and no one has appeared in all that time. And only a select few people are actually highly motivated to get stronger. People like Krillin, Piccolo, and Hercule. And Goku is always motivated. But let's get into the power levels. Raditz is still the top dog with his Cannon 1200, Goku at a level of 740, Piccolo at a level of 701, Krillin at a level of 654, Yamcha at a level of 647, Tien at a level of 602, Roshi at a level of 400, and from what I gathered from my research, I've learned that the buff form could give him anywhere between a 1.35 times increase in power to a 1.5 times increase in power, but I think it's more fair to give it to the 1.5. I don't know, 1.5 seems fair. Even though he's at a level of 400, he's really in his buff form at a level of 600, nearly on par with Tien. Chaozu at a level of 300, Tao at a level of 298, Hercule at a level of 251, Nam at a level of 249, King Chopper at a level of 212, Pamput at a level of 193, and Yurin at a level of 110. So around that time of the reunion, the people present are Goku, Gohan, Yamcha, Launch, Krillin, Bulma, Roshi, and also Tien and Chaozu. In this what if, I see Yamcha also extending word to Tien about the reunion, seeing as their dojo sparked a best friend / rival-like relationship between the two. So I see Tien also being present here. Then the climactic moment happens. Raditz arrives on Earth. He clicks his scouter and oh god, there are several high power levels all far away. Raditz deducing the strongest amongst them must be Kakarot, which he's right. He's heading right to Kame House, meaning Raditz doesn't even have a run-in with Piccolo, though I don't think it would matter. Raditz appears at Kame House asserting his authority. Everyone present is aware that Raditz is strong, sure, but between Goku, Yamcha, Krillin, Tien and Roshi, they think they could handle him, but then Raditz reveals Goku's true identity and race. Though Goku would deny this like he would in canon, and just simply get into his fighting stance. Meanwhile, at the back of the group, Master Roshi quickly danced back into the house, Krillin being the only one present knowing what he's up to. Like canon, it does get hostile as Goku just resists anything Raditz says. Raditz then attacks, but between the four warriors, Raditz is overwhelmed. Roshi comes back outside holding a pot and seal, but rather than using the Mafuba, Roshi threatens Raditz with it instead, showing the stranger mercy, seeing that his former pupils have basically got this handled. Raditz, thinking that he's still stronger than these guys, tries to brute force them, though Raditz is surprised to learn that all these warriors are pretty in sync, landing many combo blows on the invading Saiyan. Not long before Piccolo actually shows up also, as he was alerted to the key and was interested to see what was happening. Seeing an enemy whose power level is around the same level as Goku's, Raditz makes a hasty retreat, and given the way the Z-Warriors are, they would probably let him retreat for now, given they had him pretty beaten. After having been caught up to speed on what happened, Piccolo thinks letting this person live is foolish and flies after Raditz. And I do think Piccolo finds Raditz. And the thing is here, I do also think Piccolo would kill Raditz, given that this Raditz had gotten injured in his fight with the Z-Warriors earlier. Also, this version of Piccolo is even more merciless, having more pent-up anger given his humiliation at the hands of Goku and Yamcha. So in a kind of weird twist, this what if kind of sees Raditz as a non-issue, but then actually brings forth the real issue. And I doubt this version of Piccolo would let Raditz live, especially knowing it's actually Goku's brother. Since in his own way, it's like a jab. But also because Piccolo still cares for the Earth after all. like he does show so in canon. I mean, you can't take over a world if it's not there anymore. And still through the scout, Piccolo is able to learn about the other two Saiyans that will be approaching the Earth. Kami would be observing Piccolo's action here, and to be honest, I think Kami would ironically agree with Piccolo killing Raditz. Kami knowing about the Saiyans is then able to inform all the Z warriors about the threat, and for all their able warriors to come to the lookout. And here is going to be something quite different. There are many more warriors on Kami's lookout than the canon story, though Kami tells Goku, Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, and Roshi that he has nothing left to teach them, and he's going to make a request to have them train somewhere in Otherworld. Of course, I'm talking about training with King Kai, which I think they would be granted permission, even if Kami ends up with a bunch of paperwork. However, there are still people on the lookout who can see a lot of growth from their training under Kami, that being Hercule, Nam, Chopper, Yurin, Chatsu, Tao, and Pamput, which I think changes the dynamic of the Saiyan saga in quite a unique way. Let me know in the comments below if you think that Goku and the original gang would forget about time like Goku does in canon and possibly show up late to the fight, or do you think that the extra people would help remind him about pressing matters? Also, an interesting sideline that might affect things later on, but given that there are so many more warriors and that our main casts are far more powerful than their canon selves, Gohan's potential hasn't been fully noticed. I say it like that due to the fact that Goku does mention that he does believe Gohan to have a high potential even before seeing Gohan's rage power, but here that never happened. And since there are far more warriors willing to fight, Gohan isn't even forced into this fight at all. I know some of you might not like that, but I have some plans for Gohan. Hercule, as we all know, had Videl in a similar timeline as Gohan being born. Though in this what if, Yamcha being told to keep Gohan a secret by Chi-Chi means Videl and Gohan are still yet to meet. Though by the looks of their parents' friend circles, it's only a matter of time. In the case of Tao though, it's still a complicated relationship that he has with Tien. Though the threat of an alien invasion on his mind, he's able to set aside his grudges with Tien to help humanity in defending against this threat. Also, Piccolo is likely to grow at a higher rate than canon, not having to focus on training Gohan, though he's still training in solitude given that Piccolo is still not exactly an ally to the Z Warriors. They just have a common enemy right now. And a final side note, to do with ages mostly. Around the time Raditz actually arrives, Nam and Chopper are actually in their late 30s to early 50s. As a human, that does make a bit of a difference, but with their training and ki control, I don't see them letting up in strength just yet due to any kind of decline, since Nam was actually born in age 721, and King Chopper was actually born in the age 710, so we probably start seeing some grey hairs on our more aged martial artist. Also, fun fact, there is also a Trunks born in age 721, who is apparently Ranfan's husband. Toriyama may have forgotten he had actually already once named the character Trunks, or he just thought it was fine to reuse. I mean, it was successful seeing as I had no idea this Trunks existed, though this one is stated as being an unseen minor character, given why I've got no art to show you. But in the next part, I will cover more of their training and the encounter with Nappa and Vegeta. But until then, I think that's all I've got time for in this part, so make sure to leave a like if you've enjoyed the series so far. Also, make sure to comment down below where you think this series should go next, or to leave any suggestions on what ifs I should cover next. And lastly, make sure to subscribe with bell notifications on to stay up to date with my what ifs. But that's about it. I've been the Dragon Ball What If Bro, and I will see you guys next time.